We're here at the 2011 Trailblazers banquet, and I happened to come by and see this motorcycle. Perhaps one of the most beautiful motorcycles I've ever seen. It's an Excelsior, and it's owned by the gentleman standing to my right. Glenn Bader. Glenn, tell us about this incredible motorcycle.
Well, this is a 1913 Excelsior single. I restored this bike about 4 years ago for a client, and then recently we purchased it back in-house to resell it.
I got to stop you. A lot of people say they restore a motorcycle, and a lot of times what that means is they have someone take it apart and they ship pieces out, and oftentimes they don't do much of the work themselves. Did you actually get your hands dirty putting this bike together?
Well, I've been restoring motorcycles personally for well over about 20 years, and this is one of my latest creations.
Now, tell me, you're involved in the auction business, correct?
Yes, Bader International has been into the motorcycle industry, classic motorcycle industry, for many, many years. We've been a broker of motorcycles, restoration work, buying and selling, and just 2 days ago we signed a contract with RM Auctions and Auctions America, and we're now heading that department for RM.
That's fabulous. What a great development for you. So let's talk about this incredible motorcycle. What year is this Excelsior?
Well, this is a 1913, and this is a chain drive, single cylinder Excelsior. What's really cool about these bikes is the Excelsior fuel tanks are actually all copper, so you never have to worry about these tanks rusting out.
You know, I didn't know that. That really is interesting.
Oh yeah, when you go to do the restoration, unless they're all beat up, the Excelsior tanks can survive. This bike was actually a very nice original motorcycle, even though it didn't have any curb appeal left. It was beat up, but it was all there. So all of the parts that you see on this motorcycle are original, except for the paint work, of course, the leather, the rubber products, and so on. But the actual motorcycle itself, the engine, all the sheet metal, all the iron in the bike is all original.
So, for example, I see 4 sprockets right now.
Yes, well, 2 of the sprockets, of course, is to pedal start the motorcycle.
Okay.
And then once you fire the bike up, you put the bike in neutral and you brake backwards, which stops the wheel from spinning. And then once you go ahead and put the rear stand up, you go ahead and give it some gas, engage the clutch, and you're gone.
So the sprockets I see in this motorcycle, are those original sprockets?
Absolutely.
You're kidding.
No, they're absolutely the original sprockets, but of course they've all been reworked, replated, and so on.
So tell me, when this motorcycle was new, when it first left the factory and it went to a dealership, who would walk into that dealership and buy this motorcycle, and how would they use it?
Well, back in the teens, these motorcycles were not just for sport. They were basically for transportation purposes. So this could have been used for anything from a guy that had a paper route, could have been delivering milk, who knows what it might have been used for, or if a lucky kid might have came in and bought it and used it for sport, which would have been nice.
So I don't see any lights on the bike. Why is that?
Well, back in the teens, pre-1915, motorcycles really came with no lights, so lights were an accessory. So you would have had either a carbide or an acetylene setup on this motorcycle that you would have purchased as an accessory, headlight, tail light, and basically, like with the carbide, you add water, put the carbide pellets in it. When the water drips on the carbide, it creates acetylene gas, and then you have to light the headlight with a match, and hopefully you can see as you're driving down the road.
We are very spoiled today, aren't we?
I'll tell you, we don't know how rough it was back then.
Glenn, one other thing. All right, how many motorcycles throughout your lifetime do you think you've owned?
Hundreds.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Okay. What's your favorite motorcycle that you've ever owned?
You know, I had a I couldn't say exactly one, tell you the truth, but I had a 1959 Harley Panhead with a sidecar. It was all original paint, hi-fi red, beautiful, beautiful bike. My wife Denny and I would go to Borrego Springs and ride it around and so on, but again, a person like myself in this industry, I can't own everything, or I would have nothing but a garage full of bikes and I would be pushing a shopping cart because my wife would have divorced me many years ago. So, you know, I get my cake and I get to eat it too. I own great motorcycles. I get to enjoy them, ride them, restore them, and move them on to somebody else that also gets a chance to enjoy them.
Well, I've got to tell you, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and this motorcycle that you brought here today is probably one of the most beautiful motorcycles I've ever seen. You do wonderful work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, it's a real pleasure. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.